We're ready.
We're ready.
Get on stage.
So I don't have my kids here. You know?
Yeah.
How old was you?
87.
Okay. Yeah.
Ready? Okay. You guys ready?
Cool.
Everybody ready? Ready? All right. It is 6 p.m. I'd like to call to order the monthly board meeting for the month of February. Tracy, we take the roll.
Trustee Gaffney.
Here.
Trustee Kennedy.
Here.
Trustee McManus.
Here.
Trustee Seaver. And Trustee Mann.
Here. Thank you. Will you please rise for the pledge? Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Brings us to item 2, public comments. I don't see any, so we'll move on. So that will take us to our reports. We will start first with financial report. Brad.
Right on, guys. Yeah, thanks for having
Thanks for
me.
joining us.
Good to see you. Yeah. Tonight we've got the 9-month report for Fox River and Countryside Fire Rescue. Starting off as usual with the revenue highlights. 9 months in represents 75% of the district's budget year. And so far in that time, the district's received 89% of the total budgeted revenues. Property taxes has collected $5.2 million or 100%, and that is both of the 2 major installments collected from the county. Ambulance fees through 75% of the year is at 62% of budget. $1,012,000 received in ambulance fees through January. Replacement taxes at 80% of budget through 75% of the year, $12,000 collected there. The interest is right there at 75% of budget through 75% of the year, bringing in $158,000, and nothing in the debt proceeds or sale of assets. Onto the revenue categories for the district. There's your top line there, your property taxes at 100% of budget, $5.2 million. Received against that $5,225,000 budget is 100%. The interest income, $158,000 is 75% of that $210,000 budgeted item there. Down 37% from the prior year, $249,000 received in interest through January of last year. Ambulance fees through January, $1,012,000, that's 62% of budget. $975,000 received in the first 9 months of last year, and that's got the district up 4% in ambulance fees. The subtotal for the revenues there, $6.5 million through January, and that's 90% of that $7.2 million budget, up 7% from where we were through January of last year. The revenue distribution chart is next, the blue portion showing you that property taxes make up 80% of the district's revenues, with ambulance fees making up 16% of the district's revenues. Next is your collection schedule. The month of January brought in $113,000 in ambulance fees, bringing our year-to-date total to $1,012,000. Our 9-month average is just below that, $112,477. And to the right of those figures, you can see the 12-month averages of the last 2 fiscal years of $105,000 and $107,000 down in FY24. Onto the expenditure side of the ledger, through 75% of the year, 73% of the total budget has been expended, with 75% of the operating expenditures going out the door through 75% of the year. Salaries is right on the mark at 75% of budget through 20 of 26 payrolls. The contractual services at 80% of budget. Vehicle maintenance and fuel right there at 75% through 75% of the year. And the capital outlay and debt services at 71% of budget, with the items listed below going to the architectural services for Station 3, the new engine, and paying off the bonds. Expenditure categories are next. The top category there, the personnel, the big main budget category for the district. $3,177,000 expended through January, and that's 75% of that $4.2 million budget, up 2% from where we were through January of last year. The contractual services in the middle of the page, $359,000 expended at 80% of budget there. We're up 8% from the prior year. And the fire station supplies at 96% of budget, $33,000 expended is 96% of that $35,000 budget, but down 20% from the prior year. And then the vehicle maintenance and fuel is right on the mark at 75% of budget through 75% of the year. Excuse me, the total actual operating expenditures for the district at the end of January, $3,894,000, and that is 75% of that $5,175,000 budget. That's got us up 3% from where we were through January of last year. The expenditure distribution chart is next. The red portion showing you personnel makes up 82% of the district's expenses. With that, what do you want to call it? Teal, maybe blue down there at about 7 o'clock. The contractual services making up 9% of the district's expense. The revenue and expenditure and fund balance slide for the 9 months ended January 31st. After all that revenue and expense, our first two funds there, the main operating funds for the district, general and ambulance fund, are operating at a surplus there of $418,000 in the general fund and $121,000 in the ambulance fund. Reading left to right, that gives us a total deficit through January of $2,593,000, and that's primarily because of the big capital spend drawdown for the year. But after applying that beginning fund balance to that deficit, that leaves the district with an ending fund balance at the end of January of $4,062,000. The revenue and operations, no debt service and fund balance. This is just your straight up operations, showing you the consistency of the district's operations here going back through the past 3 years. And then lastly, everyone, is your cash and where it's at. Total balance of all the district's accounts there at the end of January total $3.5 million, with 46% of that cash in the Schwab investment portfolio. And that's your January report, everybody. Happy to take any questions if you have them.
Do you have any questions? All right, thanks, Brad.
My pleasure.
That takes us to item B.
Are we gonna need Brad?
Oh, yeah, you can take off.
Up to you guys. I'm fine with staying.
You have a question?
That's why I'm asking, do we need him?
Oh, no, I was gonna
Go
yeah.
home.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nothing special coming up next? Yeah, all good.
No, we're good, thank you.
Right on. My pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks for making it in here tonight.
My pleasure.
All right, that takes us to item B, the chief's report.
If you have your chief's report that I gave you in front of you, you will see that there's a little graph there that shows our 5-year call for service trends. Since some of us don't have it, I will tell you that in 2025, we ran 2,368 calls. That's down 66 calls from the previous year of 2,434, but it's up 166 calls from 2023, which we ran 2,202 calls in 2023. Staffing, I've tried to pare down the report a little bit. We have 2 of our paramedics successfully passed the national registry test. So we've got 2 new medics on staff. We've got 3 paramedics and 1 EMT successfully completed system entry, so they are now legal to operate on our vehicles. We have hired 2 part-time EMT engine operators, and we've had 2 members start paramedic class. So moving forward. Operations, you are aware that we had a structure fire on Campton Hills Drive on January 30th. Kind of a big win for us. 4 residents and multiple pets, and by multiple, there were a lot of pets in that house, were rescued by Fox River personnel. Most of the damage was contained to the garage where the fire started. A little bit of intrusion into the living quarters, into the house itself, but that was confined almost totally to the master bedroom, with the rest of the house being, for the most part, untouched. We also were dispatched for a burst water pipe on Hawkins Lane. A little bit of a strange situation. The home was unoccupied and in disrepair. Normally that doesn't happen for us. We notified Kane County Sheriff's Office so that they can take care of that property. Fire Prevention Bureau, something you may be interested in. We attended a Zoom meeting. It was a homeowner who wanted to split their single residential lot into 3 residential parcels. Not much is happening right now. The development board advised them. They will, let's see, they're going to have to check if the proposed lots would be in the floodplain, as well as any concerns about private roadway and neighborhood ingress and egress. So that's not moving forward as of yet. They're gonna look into their options and get back to us. I will let you know when that's coming up in case any of the board members want to weigh in on that issue. As far as our fleet, we've got several repairs over the past month. Engine 1811 transmission was reprogrammed. That was a warranty repair, so no cost there. We did have a fuel system repair on 1813, which was done by EVS. The next 3, 1812 coolant leak, 1813, some miscellaneous minor repairs, and new 1811 water line repair were all done by Lieutenant Snively in-house, so no cost there. We did have our annual power load system inspection on 1853. There was some maintenance and upkeep to be done on that power load system, so that was taken care of. And we did a 1852 and 53 had oil changes at Friendly Ford. That's about it for the highlights. Any questions on my report?
All right, thank you. Takes us to item C, the attorney's report.
Why, thank you, and good evening, everybody. A brief update for you. The General Assembly is back in session after its break, and they have been busy at work pumping new bills into the system. At the moment, there's really nothing that has jumped off the radar and caused me any alarm or any jumps for joy. I can sense 2 major themes, first of which is recruitment and retention. There's a lot of action on pensions right now, which doesn't really affect anybody in the room. But there's also, on the full-time recruitment side of things, a push to move the minimum age from 21 down to 18. So that would be for more like your full-time neighbors. And then also, there is another few stray bills that are quality of life improvements for fire districts, namely one that I'm seeing that has been getting a little bit of buzz would give you all as trustees a slight raise. That's important because it hasn't been adjusted in about 15 years. So that's something that I'm watching for. Again, if you hear anything about a certain bill that's been introduced, anybody can introduce anything at any time. And I would caution you that it's probably more noise than signal at this point. So I'll keep my ear to the ground and let you know of anything that may affect your operations.
Any questions for John? Okay. That takes us to item D, the President's report. I do not have anything really substantial to report. I'll probably be following up with you guys next week with some things, some housekeeping things to start to get into, but like I said, it'll probably be after next week when I get back, start talking about some things like that. Okay? That's it for President's report. Do I have a motion to approve, for consent agenda, would anybody like anything removed? Okay, do I have a motion to approve consent agenda items A through C?
So moved.
Second.
Who's first? It's heard a lot,
Tom was
Second.
Second.
That's good.
Trustee Gaffney,
Yes.
Trustee Kennedy,
Yes.
Trustee McManus,
Yes.
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 Trustee Seibert,
Yes.
Trustee Manhunt.
Yes. Motion passes. We don't have any items for action tonight. So that takes us to item 6, which is new business. Do any board members have any new business they'd like to bring up?
There's a few things I'd like to bring up.
Okay.
Last meeting, it was brought up about, there was bylaws, and that, John had made a recommendation or a model or whatever you want to call it. as
Right,
far as-
yeah, my stock policies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bylaw policies, and, I was wondering if that's something that the board should need to put on the table for the near future as far as looking at that particular the bylaws that were written, and to see if it's something that we want to implement or not. I don't, it's, I did a brief, I looked at it briefly and but we need to go into detail as far as if we want to adopt it as a board. And I'd like to see that put on the table for the near future, as far as consideration, to adopt that.
Okay.
Those bylaws. You had more, you got a copy. I think that all of us need copies. John sent me a copy, I have it, but the rest of the board members probably need a copy of that as well, so they can review it, and then when the time comes, this recommendation.
Can you send
Yeah.
a copy to the
I'd be happy to.
trustees? All right.
I'll do that right now, actually.
But I'd like to see us set a deadline to get this taken care of. I'd like to probably see it done before, right around May 1st, gives us 2 months to review it, go over it, and then get it, because it was written in 2023, and I guess presented to the board at that time, but there was no
It
action.
was never presented to the board.
I just.
Yeah, I know. I remember us talking about it. There was a date on it, but when John sent it to me, it was the first time I'd ever seen a bylaw sent to us.
Can we set a deadline to get this taken care of?
Do we want to, so we'd say the May board meeting, take action?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gives us 2 months to review them.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just wondering, do we need to, do anything, have a discussion in another meeting, like in April?
I would say the boards, if John gets it out to us in the next week to 10 days, it's only about 8 pages, really, to get down to it.
This won't be that big of an undertaking. So these rules and bylaws that we're talking about kind of sit on top of the lexical policies that you already have.
Mhm.
And they are only the rules that will govern you all as a board and when you're acting and what, the other housekeeping things might be like what the duties of the president are, what your terms are, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So this shouldn't really take all that much time, but I do sense that it would be a good idea for us all to come together and thrash out any customizations. For instance, you already prescribed your public comment policy by ordinance. So we would have to either modify my bit in there or just completely excise it and go with what your ordinance says. Those are all the things that we can
Okay.
go through.
Do you want to schedule that for the April meeting then?
Yeah, all right. I sense honestly we could have a good discussion on this next month. I am ready to just send it all to you so we have a good starting spot. We can take the red
Are
marker.
you guys, board members that haven't looked at it, is that enough
Yeah.
time for you to take a look at it?
So we can do a discussion in March, and then we can actually vote in April then.
Yes.
That's fine. Okay. So, yeah, so, the agenda for March discussions, and then April action. Everybody good with that?
Yep.
Okay.
The other, question I have is that it was brought up and the board supported it last meeting as far as personnel contracts. Where can I find that file that was requested by the board?
So we actually discussed this with one of the trustees. Is that the direction that the board wants to give us? You want us to create this file?
I guess my only question here is just, what is the purpose of it? Just explain to me what you're thinking is.
Ease of having access to could you right now, Jim, if I asked you to pull up Chief Hill's, contract, could you do it like within a reasonable amount of time right now? Do you know how to find it?
No, I don't.
Okay, that's the reason why. I think the board as a whole should be able to gain access to the contracts in a reasonable amount of time instead of trying to figure out what day, when it was approved and
But
such.
are we basically just talking about, say, the contracts for the chief and the assistant chief?
The chief, I think it's important to anybody, and this is something that's gonna lead into perhaps the next conversation with our attorney, is that, what we need as a board to understand what's a contract, what's an ordinance, what's, explanation of benefits. And then at that point in time, I think it would be a good idea to put at the very least, the chief, the deputy chief, and firefighters, although that's not considered a contract, they don't have a contract, it's an ordinance. It's just easy access for the board members. The administrative assistant, I don't see any reason why that shouldn't be in there, so the board members have an understanding as to what responsibility. I think sometimes people forget that at the end of the day, the board members are responsible for any contract. right? That's, we
Well,
signed off on.
The point of clarification, though, that basically the chief works for us, and then he's responsible for anything below that. And if we have a problem with that, then we should take it up with the chief.
But why shouldn't we have access to it?
I guess if the board wants to have access, that's fine. I just don't see the necessity if we approve a contract at the beginning of the year, we look at it and we say, okay. It's like the firefighters, we approve their wages. After that, where's the verification of the wages that we would have to study? I'm just, what
So
I'm trying to do is.
it's
I don't wanna
available,
create
what my
any-
point is, Jim, it's available to us now. It would be nice to have it readily available. I don't understand what the big deal is as far as just simply put it in a file and we can bring it up. There was questions I was thinking about today about a contract, and it's like, okay, now I gotta figure out what month was it approved. It's very easy, it's not gonna take a lot of time to simply put it in a file, it'll be in SharePoint, it'll be private, nobody else have access to it except for the board members.
It's up to the board, so.
And we discussed it last meeting, and I didn't get any pushback from it.
No, but I was trying to, again, we didn't have a lot of discussion about it,
Yeah.
and figure out where you wanted to go with it, what
Yeah.
exactly you
I'm,
want.
I'm not, I don't, it should not be exposed, the public should not have access to it.
No, it's not for the public.
No, it's not, but it is, the board members should have access to it, since we vote on the contract. The chief does not vote on the administrative assistant's contract at the end of the day, we vote on it. So, we should have access to it, if we wanna review it.
vote on the approval of the hiring of personnel. The only really contract agreement we should have is with the chief.
So you're saying that Jim shouldn't have a contract, and, well, this is the question, does the administrative assistant even have a contract?
Is there a concern about her contract or her agreement? She has an
There's
agreement.
just, that is not the point.
Yeah, and let me just jump in here first of all. So there's several different things going on. And remember, the Board of Trustees is the tippy top of the totem pole here, okay? And my position is that the Board of Trustees should be involved in any decision-making on compensation. So you do that already by having a contract for chief, right? And same thing with deputy chief, you prescribe what their wages are and how long they're gonna be in that role, up to 3 years by statute. And then for your rank and file, your shift members, they work under an ordinance, your salary and benefits ordinance. So you prescribe that too, and then with Tracy, we have adopted that, the salary and benefit schedule, I believe it was. So I do believe that the board should be the one deciding what compensation should be at varying stages of the administration. But
No, I don't disagree with that. I mean, but after contracts are awarded, then they're put away until the next contract session. So, I mean, we want a file set up, then
I think a file's no big deal.
Yeah, I don't know what the big deal is either, I mean, I really don't, Jim,
but the only thing I don't want to see is that once we issue a contract, the contract for the chief was issued before 3 of us got here.
all the more reason for you to be privy to it, so you know what's in the
I
contract
know,
and what
but
the expectations are.
until
when
the
he does
contract comes
evaluation.
up, I don't want anybody questioning the contract until the date that we renew the contract. That's my basic concerns, that I don't want anybody dissecting the contract because we don't like a certain firefighter or whatever.
That's not what I'm,
Okay,
that's
I
not
just
my
want to
point.
clarify where
it's just
we're going
having
with this.
access to it.
Okay.
I think the board, since we are the ones at the end of the day are approving the benefits, that we should have access to it. We have the chief's evaluations coming up here soon. And, we should have access to that contract to look at and see what what was agreed on, and use that as part of the evaluation as far as, is he meeting the contract,
Okay.
the agreement? And the same with Jim as well. He's got a contract, and there were certain things that was written in his contract that he was supposed to achieve. And, the board, in order for at the time we voted on his contract or his position, there was things that said, okay, he needs to do this, this, and this. And I think that you as board members should be aware of what his expectations were and are they being met?
Well, but that's a conversation I believe that should be have with the chief, because again, we only employ the chief and we shouldn't be micromanaging.
I'm not saying that.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, how do you know what the expectations were? And how could you go to the chief if you don't know what the expectations were?
Like, I'm not disagreeing there,
Yeah.
but I did not award the original contract.
I know you didn't.
And
And all the more reason why you should have access to
No
it.
matter what I think today, until the contract comes up, it doesn't make any difference.
And to be clear, you do have access to it.
It's just the
The point here
convenience.
is that
That's
you're
all
having
it
trouble
is.
finding it.
Yes.
So can we just put it in? We
Absolutely.
can put the chiefs
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Jim's in a
We will put,
SharePoint folder.
Jim's
You would have four
and
items,
mine.
4 items to put in there.
Yeah, that's all. It's
The
not,
3 administrators and then the personnel.
and the ordinance for the fire department,
Yeah.
which was supposed, I don't know if you guys received it, because you were supposed to have received it last meeting, was said that it would be forwarded to you guys. There's an ordinance that's on the, website, that ordinance isn't on the website. As far as the firefighters, it's not in a contract, it's just a ordinance saying the benefits that they're entitled to, salaries and such. They don't have a contract. That ordinance that is there, so it's available.
Right.
But it would be nice, there's no reason, you're shaking your head.
No, I have to have
No, no.
direction from you.
Well, I'll give you direction.
Oh.
Yep. All right, so first, let's get a SharePoint folder set up with, chief and, Jim's.
Theirs.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
only for now. And we'll get that started, because you're right, we are getting into the evaluation. So I think that would be important for the trustees to be able to review that as, we get ready for evaluations. And then we can,
Well, why don't we just have staff send us all a copy of the 4 agreements? I mean,
A
put it in
hard
a
copy?
file, but then send it to us now.
We can send a hard copy, but I think it would be a lot easier to have accessibility if it was on the SharePoint.
I'm saying still put it on SharePoint.
Yeah.
John, is there any reason we can't send that through email or?
That's
Okay.
fine with me.
And as far as the administrative assistant, we have as biggest role with her, or it's not a contract, in voting. And if any of you guys at any point in time want to have a conversation for me to justify why I think it's important you have access to it, I'm more than willing to sit down and explain it to you.
Yeah, so because of the previous resolution, we can't discuss that.
What?
The, administrative assistant's contract and everything.
Why?
Because I believe it's part of the resolution.
The resolution was from the previous board when I was censored, is that I didn't have the right to do that. Now, if you guys want to continue the censure on me, that's up to this board, current board. It's not a legal thing that's, we would go to court, because I'm bringing up the fact, talking about her, it's not her. And first of all, it's not, and this is where things get skewed. It's a title, okay? It's the administrative assistant, it's the fire chief, it's the deputy chief. The position of those positions is, anybody could be gone tomorrow. And it should be more a discussion about those positions and not the people themselves. And make this a policy for future board members and fire chiefs and employees, that they understand how the process works and who's involved in the process. This has nothing to do, it's not a personal issue. This is an issue of a position. You can smile all you want, Tracy, but that's the case.
No, let's not get personal. To me, what you're talking about becomes policy. When we hire a fire chief, the contract is written to that individual. You have a standard, but there will be certain things within the contract that you negotiate, whether it be salary or benefits or whatever, with that individual as you hire them according to qualifications. Am I not right, Nick Manheim?
Correct.
So, I mean, what you're talking about to me would be a general policy, what we're looking for when we're hiring.
Okay.
somebody.
Then anything that the board has a responsibility to have discussion and legally pass something, we should have access to it, period. There's no reason why we shouldn't have access to it. And I don't understand, what is the big secret? What is the big secret? Now, if someone comes in and says, I look at the contract right now and this isn't right, then I would understand your argument. It's like, wait, we signed this agreement. We can't change it midstream unless there's a good reason for it. But to view it and understand what the expectations are of the employees, I don't understand what the problem is.
Well, I understand exactly what you're saying, but if we're looking at a firefighter, are we as a board deciding for the chief how his
I'm
production
not talking about the ordinance that was passed for the firefighters. Okay, there was an agreement that they get X amount of dollars, they get time off, and that if there's anything at that level, it should go through the chief. If there's an issue with a firefighter, it should go to the chief. If there's an issue with Tracy, it should go through the chief. If there's an issue with Jim, it should go through the chief. I'm not debating that. The chief is our responsibility.
True.
Okay? I'm just saying that if I put my name on a signature on any form of contract or whatever, I should have access to it. As a board member, I should have access to that contract at any point in time. Now, if we no longer is signing the administrator's assistance agreement, as far as their benefits, then okay, I could see your argument. I could see where you would say, no, you're not entitled to it, but my signature's on that. And anybody else none of you guys, because you guys are new, well, your signature's on it. There's no reason why we shouldn't have access to it. Do you agree or not?
I mean, I feel like we've already arrived at a place where we need to be, right? Like, I think nobody disagrees that you should have access.
Yeah, so let's,
So let's,
So, I'm sorry, I have to speak up.
well, 2 seconds.
Okay.
So let's do this. Let's get, the chief and deputy chief's contracts in SharePoint.
okay,
That's a starting point.
yes, that's the starting point.
And then let me do some digging into this. I can talk to John, I can talk to the chief, and we can start to figure out how to,
And I want to talk to you about it as well.
That's
So
fine.
Put me in that threesome.
I can do that.
Okay.
But let's just start there so we don't get into the weeds.
Yeah.
We'll just check off one thing at a time, okay? I'll talk to you, we'll work through
Yeah.
the team, and we'll start to build the foundation, right?
Right.
Start to build that foundation of what we're looking for, and, to Mr. Gaffney's point about policy, like, we start to, if we wanna evaluate, what the responsibilities are for employee or whoever is hired for future employment, we can start to look at those things as well as part of
Yeah,
the
sure.
process.
The word policy maybe shouldn't even came up in. as far
I
as-
think that's probably the catch-all of it, right?
But
Mhm.
I
So,
don't know. I don't think I'm asking for anything out of line, and it's beneficial, and maybe at this point in time, some board members don't feel it's beneficial, but down the road, it's gonna be beneficial for you to have easy access, to be able to pull up something without having to remember what date it is. Or someone said, well, why can't we just have hard copies? Well, I have a second home that I go down to. I'm not taking a hard copy with me down, all my paperwork with me down at my second home.
I have no objection to having a file. I
Yeah.
just thought maybe
Okay,
if we're gonna review it and do an evaluation, it'd be nice if we could have a hard copy or print a hard.
yeah,
copy.
no, I.
oh, right, for the
I'm
evaluation,
saying,
right, yeah.
a previous board member had brought that up and said, well, you can make a hard copy and just have it. Well, I'm taking my file with me down to
No, I
the,
understand.
I didn't mean to direct it at you, Jeff.
No, I'm just clarifying what you're saying.
Okay. All right, so we'll start there, and then we'll kind of trickle down.
And we'll make a folder.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right? Anything else?
I got something the other day that, I was giving a lot of thought to, and I asked this question the other day. As a board, I'm very curious to know what everybody thinks where we're gonna be at 10 years from now. And I mean that, looking down the road. I also think that, as a board here, that we have to, within the next 6 months to a year, to start looking at how we're gonna approach another referendum. We don't have enough money right now to support our firefighters and our paramedics, and we're in a very, very competitive field all of a sudden where paramedics and firefighters are becoming a rarity, and we're competing with other departments. And I think that somewhere along the line, we have to eventually start to work towards how we're gonna address the public for these needs, because we've got our bond money, but the bond money has to be used on this side of the fence, and we're talking this side of the fence, and we can have the greatest fire stations, great equipment, but if we don't have the manpower, we don't have anything. And, you know, every month we see the chief's report where we're losing another firefighter, another paramedic, and it's become a very, very competitive field all of a sudden. And we have to figure out a way to up the salaries and the benefits to hold on to good people. And I just want the board to be aware of what my thinking is, because if we don't do it, I figure 10 years from now, we may not be here.
I couldn't agree with you 100%, and that's another thing that we need to, I don't want to use the word table, but we need to start, you and I had this kind of a conversation, that we talk a lot about stuff, but we don't, your point is well taken, and I feel 100% behind you, and we talked about it. I've talked to other people about it, but it's just, we need to start putting things in action. We need to start having conversations about the future of this fire department and the issues that we face currently and potentially down the road. We have an issue. We have an issue with turnover rate. I was talking to a Elbert fire chief yesterday, and he told me about how great guys we got on this fire department. And I thought that was quite a compliment.
Yep.
That firefighters are great guys, good guys, right? We need to keep those good guys. And it's hard with the competition, like Jim said, it's hard. You know, we don't have, we don't have the pleasure or the benefit of offering more money or other benefits that other fire departments have. So it's a tough, so we do need to have this discussion, but we need to start talking sooner than later.
Like, the reason I brought it up, I got very concerned the other day with over by, and I think I brought this up last meeting, that we're over by where we live, between Peck and Burr Road, the city's gonna annex that piece of 38 acres. So we leave a planned development. Well, in getting the ordinance and the Heisey property, which is what it is over there, they have the other 340 acres from Burr to Babson. That property originally was, our understanding was gonna go to the Kane County Forest Preserve. Well, within the trust now, it says that it's gonna be single-family homes. And what really makes me nervous is that if St. Charles is on the south side of Dean Street, to cross Dean Street, take 330 acres, and there's nothing we can do about that. But we have to start addressing the problems of, as we lose finances, how we're gonna substitute. And
Yeah, absolutely. And the only good thing about, no, there's nothing good about that. But the good thing is it's not gonna be, we're not gonna be affected at that particular time as far as on the tax roll. Right now, we're not getting a lot of money for that property, that farm property. But
Right.
down the road, you're right, we could potentially be losing money. So, yeah, it's things that we need to be concerned about and have discussion about. And I know we have our limitations as far as legally, what we can do, what direction we can go as far as fighting it,
Can't
legally.
there's no fighting.
Yeah, so we
State
have to get
ordinance
creative
tells
in
us
our
you
ways
can't do that.
as far as trying to address those problems, so.
And again, we don't have any really commercial or industrial development. Campton was formed with the idea of not allowing that. And again, I look between Randall Road and Silver Glen Road, and we have a tremendous amount of housing. You move south of Dean Street, and you've got all commercial, and you move north of Silver Glen, we got commercial, and all we got is housing. And we have, and outside of housing, we don't have anything really that supports this department.
I got an idea. Why don't you buy that property and build like a $20 million home? And we'll get the tax revenue from you.
Excuse me, I moved out of Arbor Creek because of that, okay? So,
Yeah, I agree with you, Jim. We do need to start talking about it sooner than later.
but again, I just want the board and maybe the public to start to be aware of it, because I think it's something in the next 2 years that we really, really have to concentrate on, because, like you say, we have good people here.
Mhm.
I hate to see them go someplace else, but to me, it's economics. And if I can make $10,000 more working for somebody else and get better benefits, it's human nature, I'm gonna go there, having a family and people to support.
Mhm.
So we have to get to the point where, and we have to convince the public, we have to be competitive. Plus, right now, we're the lowest on the scale of anybody in the area.
We always have been.
Yeah, but convincing the public's gonna be a tough go, so.
If I could also add one thing, if you're going to go down the road of referendum, you gotta keep in mind the election schedule.
Yep.
So this year you have March, and then you'll have November.
Yeah.
In 27, you're gonna have February and April, that's it. Now we're talking about 2028.
Yep.
So.
How much of the bond debt that we have, paying back, right now that the public is paying off, you think that's gonna have an impact as far as them willing to, I mean, we're talking, maybe we're a little talking out of line here as far as right now, but that's,
No, I think it's good for general discussion that, what are we at, 28 cents per hundred?
no, we're up more than that now. We used to be,
No, it
we used to
about
be, I think it's
19,
more, in the 30s or I could be off on that, but it's higher, but it wasn't that long ago, we were at 28 cents.
But again, you have Elburn and Pingree Grove and South Elgin who are.
And they're over $1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So, yeah,
I'm not, and for the public, I'm not looking for $1, but I'm looking for something that will hold us over for a while, because we do run on a much smaller and tighter, budget, which I don't see any problem with as we go forward. We have 3 stations, we've got good equipment, the replacement costs will be taken care of, but it's on the other side, it's the manpower.
Yeah.
And we need the manpower.
I think stability comes into play when you start talking a referendum. The public feeling that there's stability with this fire department, and we have a lot to offer as far as personnel and facilities and equipment, which we do. And so it makes this sell, I think, a lot easier. I mean, it's not gonna be easy, but
What is Elgin, or South Elgin and Elgin running on an engine company? 3?
yeah,
4?
they're running typically 3 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. That's pretty much standard.
Okay.
You'll have bigger departments, they'll run a 4-man truck if they have the company, the personnel available, but that has a lot to do with vacations and stuff, so.
But if we're running 2 trucks out of, say, this station, we should have 6 firefighters, huh?
Yes, my opinion.
No,
In my
you
opinion,
can't run a truck
Yes,
without.
yes,
individual
that's for another time for a discussion as far
Yeah.
as that, and the chief he's got limited resources, he's only got so much to work with,
Yeah,
I'm sure he'd
no,
love to
but
have a
I'm
5-man.
saying when we start towards the
It sure
referendum,
would. Yeah, no, we're behind in that sense.
well, I see a point probably, in my opinion, in the next 2 years, that we'll probably be looking at a 4th ambulance.
There's,
personnel.
and that's why we need to start talking
Yep.
about what you brought up and start kind of planning, and get everybody involved.
Yeah.
Everybody involved and
Okay.
see what we can do.
So, working backwards, then should we realistically start having this conversation?
I would say immediately, let's get a target on a referendum at the very least, because that's gonna dictate everything else behind it.
Okay.
The other thing to keep in mind is if you were successful in 2027 on one of those early referendum, you don't realize the benefit of that until you levy, and then you're on
Yeah,
power
you're-
until
you're
28,
behind.
right?
Right.
So there's a large degree of time lapse in here. And frankly, like I'm looking at your rate sheet right now, you're at 39 cents,
30 minutes.
and 13 of that's bond.
Yeah.
So
Oh, wow.
you are
26 cents.
far and away
Oh,
among
you
my
were getting it,
lowest
right?
levying fire districts in terms of rate, right?
Mhm.
In terms of dollars difference, but rate, yeah, you guys are way down there.
I thought it had gone up, but you're right. We must have been triggering the bond, because I was thinking around 35, 40, but that, I didn't
Yeah.
consider
The other handicap that you'll have is the type of referendum you're gonna need to go for, a limiting rate increase referendum, are very tough to pass, right? You have to educate the public on what the question means before you even get them into the voting. Because it is a brick of a question that you cannot modify by statute, right?
Right.
So it's gonna require a lot of door knocking, by, the stakeholders and all that, but, and, of course, there's only so much that the board can do directly on this. We can submit it to referendum, but then after that, we can only provide facts. We can, and encourage people to vote, but we can't say go vote yes, that kind of thing. So it's a lot of, preparation for that.
It's almost like you should strike the iron while it's hot. And what I mean by that is just open administration. And I know we can't start tomorrow, but keep that fresh, in the citizens' mind about, hey, this is what we did with the money, and this is what we can do with more with additional money, so.
Well, to Tim's point, right, we used this half for improvements, the other parts for personnel to support all the hard work that we did for the stations.
Yeah.
I think it would be, in my opinion, again, advantageous and up to the board that the chief and two of us on the board meet with the accountant and we start to figure out what a number would be.
I would like, and this is way down, and I have brought this up once before, and I'm not gonna say this right, so correct me please, have an actuary.
You
done.
certainly could.
Yeah.
Yeah, because right now you're throwing a dart at a dartboard on what you're gonna need. Although I will say, like, some of this isn't so much actuarial science, but political reality. So if you have a number that you feel that your citizens can live with, and that would be appealing for them when they go to the ballot box, it's almost worth more than hard facts and numbers.
But,
They do like polling or how?
There are outfits that will do
How
that,
would
yes.
how would they get a feel for that?
Yeah, there is a sense, there are vendors that will do polling and advise on that kind of thing, but that's,
You gotta understand that in the polling, and we've done that
Yeah.
before, that there's a cost factor
There's a cost,
involved,
but
and there are no guarantees.
there's a big cost factor, and in my view, I think your experience is more useful.
Yep.
Because you live this, right? You're not an out-of-towner coming in, you're, here every day, you have a good pulse of what is going on. Now, this also may take more than one try, especially in the Liberty Road referendum. I can tell you one that I've been involved with down in New Lenox, where they too had a very trim budget and levy, right? They were very low. I think they were at maybe 40 cents to 50, something like that. And they were going broke. They made a real good push. Everything was well received, but then the election day happened. Everything went to heck. And they very next day had to shut down the station. And that was probably the best advertising for why they needed the referendum.
But you gotta advertise that before the vote.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? And it wasn't unheard of that we would have to, they were telling people that, yeah, we're gonna have to make some drastic cuts here. But until the citizens actually saw it happening.
So it's reality.
Exactly.
And another thing that's gonna work to our advantage, and it's all these little things that work toward the unions will support us this time around. We're not gonna have resistance from the union. I can almost guarantee it.
Yeah.
So that will help a lot. So all these little things can make a big difference.
Yeah. And to corral all those cats, start now. Definitely, because you're gonna run out of time before you know it.
Yeah, you get that down. We have an outstanding department. The idea is that we keep going forward, and I don't want to see us backpedaling. That's why the other day I made the comment, or asked the question, where do you see us in 10 years? And I think I caught some people off guard. It's an interesting concept when you look at it, but with the population growth and everything else, firefighting to me now is what, 15% of what we do.
That's being generous.
Yeah. And, we are now an ambulance and paramedic service. We're a medical service. All fire departments are now. And everybody uses you. I mean, I find it amazing how the doctors are. If there's an emergency, hang up the phone and call 911. I mean, my kid broke his finger and I'm calling 911. Okay, it's the idea that we're tying up emergency equipment for no reason at all. But that's what the public dictates now. That's what they want. So
It's a different world. and we have to adapt, but, there's a lot of things that we need. Nick and I had this conversation here recently, and it's a positive conversation. There's a lot of things that we need to kind of work on with this department.
Well, I think we should
Where
have
we need to be.
a list of priorities where we want to go and start to concentrate, whether it's just one or two a year. But at least we have a growth faction where we want to go as a board and as a department.
And we need to get everybody involved.
Yeah.
This board, and, of course, the staff's gonna get involved, but we need everyone to, one way or another, get involved and try to get where we need to be, where we should be.
I had two other items. One of them was real quick, like moving on, is that it was brought to my attention a couple of weeks ago, just out of curiosity, that the department just ought to have a department flag. And my thought was, if we want to instigate a department flag, it's gonna hold a school district and let the school kids design a department flag for us. And that way we start to put our name up in front of people. And I mean, you talk about the city of Chicago and the snow plows and things like that. They get the kids involved who go home and talk about things. If we want a department flag the same way as, on the other hand, I was wondering, do we have a department chaplain? In case
We do
anything
not
goes-
have a chaplain.
Oh, yeah.
I really feel that, John Gripe, who is our county rep, is a chaplain. I think he's the chaplain for St. Charles Fire Department.
Pope was, not the Pope, but John, he's a
John, yeah.
great guy.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I'm just thinking about certain things that it's just, these are just ideas.
Sure, there's a lot of things we could always get the public involved, which is very important one way or another. The flag idea is good to get that
Build
out.
good move.
And that all helps.
And again, I would like to take it to the school district to D303. I mean, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 schools that are in the district. Belgrade, Wasco,
Wow, Pearson.
Pearson,
Wayne.
Anderson.
No, we have more than that. 9.
I can create ideas. Okay, thank you. I won't take a big one.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I wrote list, right, goals for 26, so, I'll start putting together a list, and then I'll reach out to you guys and let's prioritize them. Some are gonna be sooner than later, obviously, at least we got the bylaws now scheduled, so that's a start. So I'll start putting down some thoughts based on what you guys said tonight. And then we can start to let's build I'll call it a discussion calendar for the year.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we can start putting these on, the agendas and focus on a topic a night. So we're not
Being here till
staying here till
yeah,
midnight.
right.
But that way we're focused too. We're focused on that topic for that night too. So that we can have our discussions, like, let's use the bylaws, and we got it on the radar. So the March we focus on that, right? Let's get that taken care of. Then on April, we vote on it. So April could be a discussion for a different topic. And then we just kind of, we'll piggyback onto them and we'll just kind of use that as our guide for the year. If you guys are okay with that. Okay.
But, we've discussed, I'm sure you don't have a problem as far as evaluation, will be the next thing, and then move forward. We apologize, you were supposed to have it by now, but we've had a few things that we're trying to tweak a little bit here and there.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we apologize, you should have had it by now, so.
So that's on the agenda for next week.
Next week or next month?
Well, to kind of tweak the evaluation forms, and then get you yours, and then yes, then a month later. But same thing.
Okay.
Can I assume it'll be basically like it was last year, where the board members will have input, and then a couple of board members will sit with me, or is there?
That's how I envisioned it. I wasn't around last year, but that's kind of how I envisioned it, is that the 5 of us will input data, I'll collect it.
Mhm.
We'll have something for you to fill out.
Okay,
get your feedback, and then yes, myself and, another trustee will meet with you and go over it.
Okay.
Okay?
Mhm.
All right, anything else with new business? Good, all right, do we have closed session tonight?
I think we got a couple items that we should talk about. Some of the literature you sent us pertaining to property at Station 3. And I'd like to discuss future property too, but that's for closed session.
So what would we go into closed session for?
So it would be a discussion on the possibility of purchasing property.
Okay.
Can we say the proposal on the
Yeah.
cell tower?
It's not a secret.
Yeah.
You won't want to talk about the details, but
No.
Yeah.
the fact that there's been a proposal from a group to put a cell tower on the Station
Oh,
3
sure.
property and to discuss it. And they have given we'll call it a preliminary proposal, so I would say to discuss a contract. I forget exactly how the language
Yeah.
reads, but
So we're leasing in that case?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
So we're
So the
on
lease of property.
the possibility of purchase property and leasing the property.
Yeah.
Two different items, though, two different.
Yeah, two different exceptions.
And I would like to see the chief and maybe the attorney involved in the conversation.
Mhm.
That would be okay.
Did we say that?
John, can
Good.
Okay. All right, do I have,
If there's anything I can contribute, my neighbor owns the cell tower property right on 24 or 25.
We do need a motion.
So
I know.
if he can help out, then good.
This isn't super secret.
What's that?
Do you want to keep your recording secretary? There's nothing here.
Yeah.
that's-
No, she'd be fine. I just want to make sure you two are
Okay.
here. She can stay.
Tracy, you can stay.
Okay.
Okay.
Talking about
Okay,
land, it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
a secret. Yeah.
so do I have a motion to adjourn to closed session for the possibility of purchasing property and leasing of property?
Yeah, the setting of a price for the lease.
Setting a price of leasing
Yeah.
property.
So,
Mr. Gaffney?
Second.
Mr. Kennedy? Does someone talk
If
about
you
it?
gave me that long remote right there, I'll take a break.
You take a look.
are we gonna watch TV?
No, we're not.
So I got a couple programs I'd like to watch.
It's gotta be better than the Super Bowl.
Trustee McManus.
Aye.
Trustee Gaffney.
Yes. Aye.
Trustee Stevens. Trustee Mann.
Right, all right, it is 6:58, and we're gonna go into closed session.
Trustees, do you have any objection to Deputy Chief staying in for this?